In the heart of Umuaka village, there flows a river that never forgets. By day, it shines like silver beneath the sun, but by night, it sinks. They say, when the moon turns red, the water remembers an old promise. A promise broken by man and sealed by blood. This is the story of Adanna, the girl whose laughter could calm storms, and Obi, the hunter, who loved her enough to defy the gods. But when pride awakens wrath, love became sacrifice, and peace demanded a bride. This is the river that demanded a bride, a tale of love, loss, and the true origin of a sacred curse. In the heart of Umuaka village flowed River Nzu, calm by day but roaring by night. The villagers feared it because strange songs rose from it whenever the moon was full. They said the river had a soul, a spirit bride who once lived among them before vanishing into its own depth. None dared fetch water after sunset. One evening, Ada, whose laughter lighted up the village, stood by the river bank. She felt the wind whisper her name, soft and sorrowful. Ada, come. The voice chilled her bones, yet something in it felt familiar, like a forgotten lullaby calling her home. From the nearby bush, the young hunter saw her. He had followed her secretly, worried that she often wandered too close to the cursed waters. "Adanna!" he shouted, running towards her. She turned, startled, and the river felt silent. "Don't ever come here alone," Obi warned. "That river is not just water, it's alive." Adanna smiled nervously. "How can water be alive, Obi? It only moves where the winds blow." Obi shook his head. "That is what they said though, before the first bride disappeared." The next morning brought the Feast of Rivers, a sacred celebration meant to honor River Nzu. The villagers danced, drummed, and poured palm wine into the water as an offering. But Chief Okoro, proud and greedy, mocked the old ways. He poured the last calabash of wine on the ground instead and said, "Let no one fear a river again. We are the masters of this land." That night, lightning struck near the river bank, and the once clear water turned dark as blood. A woman's cry echoed through the wind, long, haunting, and full of pain. At dawn, the villagers found fish floating dead and strange markings lined the river's edge. Fear spread. Only Mama Ulaku, the old seer, understood what was happening. "The river has spoken," she said. "It demands what was once taken, a bride." Adanna trembled as she heard those words. For night, the voice from the river had grown stronger, whispering to her dreams. "You are choosing," it said. "You will heal what your people broke." Unable to sleep, Adanna went to Mama Olaku's hut. The old woman stared into her fire and sighed. Long ago, she began, the first chief promised his daughter to the river spirit to bring rain, but he broke his words. The spirit took her by force, and since then, the river awaits for another bride. Adanna's eye widens. So every generation must pay? Mama Ulaku nodded sadly. Until a willing bride restores the balance. The curse was never broken, only delayed. When Obi heard of the river's demand, he refused to let Adanna go. I will fight any spirit that dares take you, he swore. But Adanna smiled sadly. You cannot fight what I will be. You can only flow with it. Still, he followed her everywhere, keeping watch by night and day. Yet, one evening, when the moon turned red, Adanna disappeared, leaving only her footprints leading to the river. Obi dove into the river, calling her name. But instead of Adanna, a strange figure rose, half woman, half mist, her hair floating like seaweed. Leave this place, she warned. The bride has been chosen. Behind her, Adanna stood beneath the water, dressed in white, smiling with tears in her eyes. Obi, don't fight it. The river is angry because of our pride. I must go, or our people will perish. Before Obi could reach his hand, the waters closed, calm and blue once more. For 7 days, Umuaka mourned. Then on the 8th day, rain fell gently for the first time in years. The crops grew again, and the river flowed clear. The people rejoiced, calling Adanna the bride of peace. But Mama Ulaku shook her head. The river is not sleeping, she warned. She will rise again if the people forget. Chief Okoro, filled with guilt, built a shrine by the river and placed Adanna's carved image there, hoping to calm the spirits forever. Years passed. Children played by the river again, and the curse became just another story. But one night, during another red moon, Obi heard the same soft voice. Obi! He rushed to the river bank, heart pounding. The water rippled, and Adanna's reflection smiled up at him. The curse sleeps in love, she whispered, but we awaken in pride. He tried to touch her reflection, but the river pulled his hand under, warm and alive. Then it stilled again, leaving only silence. Now, every year, when the moon turns red, the villagers leave gifts by the river, beads, palm wine, and flowers, whispering Adanna's name. They say she became one with the spirits, watching over the village to keep the balance between humans and the unseen. Mama Olaku's last words before she died were carved into a stone by the shrine. When man forgets his promises to nature, the river will rise and demand a bride again. And so, the legend of the river that demanded a bride lives on, a warning a love story and the true origin of cursed love. So remember, every story holds a warning, and every curse begins when love is forgotten. This was the river that demanded a bride, the true origin of a sacred curse. If you were touched by this tale, like, subscribe, and join me next time for another journey into the heart of African folk tales, where legends never die.